Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, are you good for me? Well, today I've got 3 emails that I'm going to go through, and we're also going to talk about the kinds of questions you should and shouldn't be asking yourself about the people that you have in your life, especially when it comes to dating. Because like women, the place that they're at when they start dating a guy or going out with a guy or talking to a guy or flirting with him, she wonders, are you good for me? And us guys, we typically look and go, she's got a great ass. It's exactly what I'm looking for. And we don't think about anything else. Everything goes out the window. But before you get gonzo over just her looks, you should look at yourself. If you perceive yourself as a catch, you're not going to just give yourself to any pretty girl that comes along. You're going to want to be a little discerning. And obviously the more practice and more experience you have, the more relationships you go through, you start to learn what you really want and what's most important to you. And the kind of women that maybe, especially if you're just starting out now, watching my videos or applying things I teach, the women that you'd love to date today, 6 months, a year from now, you won't even give them the fucking time of day. So before we get into these emails, I've got a quote that I wrote that I'd like to share with you. It's got a bunch of good questions that you should ask yourself, not just about the people that you date or your intimate relationships, but also about your friendships, especially if you're thinking about going into business with somebody, because having a business partnership is just like being married to someone. And I was in a business partnership with 2 different guys at the same time, obviously, for almost 10 years. We worked together for a couple of years, and then we started a business. We were very successful. We all made a lot of money together. But obviously, after working together many years, I just realized our goals and values just simply they weren't aligned. They weren't really aligned in the first place. It's just, I think we all kind of got to the place where we just didn't want to be in business with each other anymore. So let's go ahead and just jump right into this quote that I wrote. It says, the quality of your life is in direct proportion to the quality of the questions you consistently ask yourself and the quality of the people who you consistently spend your time with. Here are some great questions to continually ask yourself regarding who you should let into your inner circle and life experience and who you should delete. And the first one is, are you helping me achieve what I want? Do you inspire and encourage me? Are you a good influence upon me? Are you a giver or an energy vampire and taker? Do you leave me feeling happy? Or do you leave me feeling emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically fleeced? Are our goals and values aligned? Are you an honorable and trustworthy person? These are also good questions when you're thinking about voting for a politician, and it's hard to find any of them that'll match up to these, obviously. Do you keep your word? Do you celebrate and appreciate me, or merely tolerate me to get what you want? Are you a net contributor to my life, or merely a consumer of my life force, resources, and energy? Do you make consistent effort to make me feel loved and appreciated? Those are all definitely something to think about. And I'll also post all those questions on my website at the bottom of this. Anytime I share a quote, I always share it, have the actual written quote on my website down below at the end of the article, for those of you that want to write those down or copy and paste them. So let's get in this guy's email. He says, hey Corey, I came across your site when I was looking for how to win back an ex. A lot of people, I'd say probably 80% of my business comes from guys that are in that situation. They're trying to get a girl back, an ex or an ex-girlfriend, or they were just starting to date, or trying to fix things with their wife. But it's like when I start coaching, we get into it, we find out there's all kinds of other things going on in their life. They're kind of throwing their personal life out of whack. And plus, they usually have limiting beliefs and things running around their mind that are unknowingly sabotaging their success. And that's the benefit of having a phone session with somebody. Is when I talk to somebody, ask them specific questions, I can find out really what's going on. Whether it's they want to start a business, or they're having problems in their business partnership, or they're having problems with women they're dating, or they're having problems overcoming fears regarding dating, or maybe they're not doing so well in their relationships, or they're trying to figure out their purpose in life, or they're trying to get their career on track, or learn to just be better at interacting with customers and convincing customers why they should buy their product or service. He says, my wife isn't my ex yet legally, so I was trying to act fast and win her back before that happens. After reading your site, I realized where I went wrong in a lot of spots. And even though I'd like to think my case is a little different, for the most part, it's the same. My wife is Canadian. I moved up here to be with her. But when I came up, we wound up moving around 6 times, and the paperwork for my permanent residency never got filed. Well, that is definitely your fault, dude. Just because you moved around, I mean, come on, that's a pretty big deal, getting your residency in order, especially if you're from a different country. And to just say, oh, we moved around and it got lost in the process, that tells me that your attention to detail has not been what it should be. That's just a fact of life, dude. I will never bullshit you. I'll always tell you like it is. But as a man, that's the kind of shit that you need to fucking handle. And when you don't do stuff like that and you're just fucking lackadaisical about it, that's the kind of little thing that's a characteristic of your personality and your belief system. And it's not just that the paperwork didn't get filed. There's other little flaky things that as a man you're not doing, you're not taking care of. These are the kinds of things that cause a woman to not trust your masculine core, and it dissipates the attraction she has for you. Plus the fact that you're obviously moving to her country for her instead of doing what you want to do. You're not following your purpose and your mission in life. It's like you're just running after her, trying to make her happy. It's not. This is like pleaser type of energy. He says, life just got in the way. Yeah. It's like people are like, hey, how's that exercise program going? Oh, I just don't have the time. I'm so busy. Well, how can you ever have the time if you never take the time? Nothing becomes real unless you schedule it. That's just a fact of life. So life just got in the way is your excuse of making up or covering up for the fact that you're a self-bullshitter. In other words, you got to ask yourself, why did you not do the things you really know you needed to do? There's a reason for that. Nobody ever thinks about it. They just go, oh yeah, life, yeah, it kind of got in the way. Oh, I missed that appointment. Oops. So I had overstayed 6 months. I was allowed to be here. Well, in the United States, if you're only allowed to be here for 3 months, but if you stay longer than that, they ban your ass for 10 fucking years. A decade. Think about it. I couldn't apply for a work visa because of that. I mean, that is just core issue. Masculine energy is about purpose, drive, mission, succeeding, accomplishing, breaking through barriers, achieving goals. Feminine energy is about opening up to receive love. Your woman's not going to feel safe and comfortable with a guy that just can't even follow up on his fucking paperwork. It's like, come on, man. This is what being a man is all about, dude. Oh, I forgot to pick little Johnny up from school today. Sorry. You know, come on. He says, it broke my heart sitting around all day while she went to work and paid for all the bills. Obviously, she didn't mind it too much. Every now and then, I would... Because you always got to think in terms of, what are the consequences if I don't make sure this paperwork gets filed? Oh, I just got busy with life. Oh, well, I can't work. Sorry, honey. You're going to have to pay the bills. Every now and then, I would get a little work and throw that into the household income, but it wasn't enough to bury the guilt. Because deep down, you knew you were fucking up. You weren't being a man. You weren't handling shit. I wasn't providing for her or even helping financially. Sounds like you became an energy vampire. Remember, women are always thinking, are you good for me? Are you a good match for me? Granted, I cooked and cleaned for her. Oh, so you became the woman. That's nice. Did you shave your legs too and wear a dress? I felt like the biggest burden, so I made an incredibly difficult decision and moved back to the U.S. After I got back, we got into a huge fight and stopped talking. It's always like the big fight that ends the relationships. It's just it's like the breaking point for her. That's because women sometimes will push things to that because they figure out how to push your buttons pretty quick. They can figure out what you feel insecure about and what you feel weak about it, and they're just gonna needle you and needle you until you fucking blow up. And then it's like, oh, we had a big breakup. That's it. It's over. She sent me a couple of emails, but I didn't get them right away since I was still getting back on my feet. More lack of attention to detail. Dude, this is what a man is all about. A man is supposed to handle this shit. You can't be that way and expect to have a good relationship and have your woman trust your masculine core. So it wasn't until about a month later that we started talking again, and to prove to her how sorry I was for leaving, during this time I had done all the research of getting a work visa and all that crap. I sold my piece of shit car, bought a plane ticket, and came back up. So now you had no wheels. Nice. In a woman's mind, it's like, why didn't you take care of this stuff in the beginning? Why didn't you do it before? Why is it that you only cared about doing it when you felt fearful you were going to lose her? Remember, women are thinking, are you good for me? Are you a good match for me? Are you trustworthy? Do you keep your word? Are you an honorable person? Your behavior causes women to go ding, ding, ding. It's like all the red lights are going off in her mind and her heart going, I currently live on her sister's property. I'm in the process of getting my work permit and such. We've gone on a few dates, and that didn't amount to anything other than getting my hopes up and crushed. The thing that she does, I admit, I have done my fair share of things wrong. But she flat out toys with me. Well, it sounds like you're opening yourself up to it, dude. She's testing your strength because she doesn't trust you. I mean, you guys broke up already. Last week she invited me over for dinner and a movie. During the movie, she decided to come across the couch and cuddle with me. Hang out, have fun, hook up. It's like, despite all this bullshit, she's giving you another chance. But what happened? What did you do? Did you take advantage of that opportunity? Then over the next few days, we just emailed back and forth, and she asked me to come with her to go tire shopping since I used to be a mechanic. So I say yes, obviously. I don't want her driving through winter on crap tires. But the plans for that day got a little mixed up since I don't currently have my own car. My brother and sister-in-law loaned me one of theirs, but the roads were bad, so they didn't want me driving, but would give me a ride into town when they went to work the next morning. So I asked if it would be okay if I hung out at her place until she got off work, because that was the only time I would have a ride in and out of town without costing her any gas. Remember, is this a good guy for me? That's the mindset that she is in. Since she said it was okay, so that's what we did. She kept emailing me through the day, making it out like I was inconveniencing her. Well, what she was really pissed about is the fact that here you are, once again, you got no fucking car, you're supposed to be helping her out, and you just, because you haven't taken care of business, it's like you're kind of spun. She's got to drive you around town. She's got to be like your chauffeur. Women don't want that. They want an equal. They want a partner. Are you a good influence upon me? So I brought it up, which was a mistake. Her reason was that I invited myself over and she felt like I was pushing myself onto her. You probably were a little bit, but you're bullshitting yourself, because you're a pretty good self-bullshitter here. Because remember, this whole paperwork, life just got in the way. Had nothing to do with the fact that you weren't being a man and paying attention to detail. Dude, you'd never make it in the military. It's all about attention to detail and routines. Not that I've ever been in the military, but I have lots of friends and family and clients that are. So after that day, we kind of been arguing. Men who argue with women don't understand them. And here the deal is that she's trying to explain to you how you've hurt her once again, and you're using logic and reason to try to win your argument. And all it does is spiral out of control to the point where she gets pissed off and doesn't want to talk to you. Because she thinks, are you a good match for me? Are you good for me? And then on top of that, of course the answer is probably no, and then on top of that, you're arguing with her. Do you leave, remember, what was the thing that I said in my quote here? Let's see here, let me read that again. Are you a good influence upon me? Are you a giver or an energy vampire and taker? Do you leave me feeling happy, or do you leave me feeling emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically fleeced? Sounds like, more than likely, if I was to talk to her, she feels like you're fleecing her of her vital life energy. So after that day, we kind of been arguing. I do back off, and she does start talking to me after a couple of days. How one night she told me how great this other guy was, your replacement, and how she wanted me out of her life. So I stopped talking to her, and 3 days later she was offering to make me cookies. I would love nothing more than to win her back. It's not about winning her back, dude. It's about taking care of your fucking shit and being a man, dude. time to put on your fucking big boy pants, grow up, and act like a fucking adult. You're acting like a fucking spoiled 12-year-old kid whose mommy and daddy have to do everything for him. It's like, come on, man. Seriously, what do you expect? And she's still giving you a shot. She's still making you cookies. I will admit I am weak for her, and I do run to her. I've been with her for 10 years. Wow, she's put up with that bullshit for 10 years. Sometimes it's not even intentional that I go to her. It's that for 10 years she's been the one that I go to talk about everything. So she's not your wife, she's your mommy. That's another part of your problems. What do you recommend I do? Get a fucking car, get a job, and take care of your shit. And do something that you love for a living and become successful at it. Something you have a passion for. So you're not being a fucking leech and an energy vampire off this woman. Where I don't have a steady income or a vehicle yet, I can't just go out and start dating other girls. Is the dating other girls part key? Or is it just the unavailability that lures them back? It's A, taking care of your shit as a man and being a man, doing what you want, when you want, with who you want, and interacting with her in a way that creates attraction, not getting together with her and arguing and bitching at her. Because all you do is confirm to her that you don't fucking get it. Because it's obvious that she's, in the process of divorcing you, she's got another guy in the picture here, and 10 years later, it's the same bullshit. She fell in love with your potential, not the immature child that you are. And that's what you need to do. You need to focus on your purpose and your mission in life. And when you get together with her, talk to her and communicate with her like an adult, like I talk about in my book. Attention to detail. Well, you watched a few videos, you think, oh, I got it now. I don't need to read this fucking book. And you keep making mistakes. She's like, you're never going to get anywhere acting like this. So there's a video that I did called, if you Google Corey Wayne, how to communicate with women effectively, watch that video and apply that and stop fucking arguing with her. All you do is confirm to her that you don't get jack shit. You don't understand women at all. I mean, just absolutely amazed that she's put up with you this long. She probably has self-esteem issues because she keeps putting up with you thinking she's going to fix you and make you into the perfect guy that she wants you to be. So let's get into this second email. This guy says, hey coach, first off, let me start with expressing my gratitude to you in writing your book and for all of your videos and articles. Well, you're welcome. It's my purpose. It's my mission in life. It's just what I do. I can go on and on about how much your work has helped me, but I know I have to keep this short, so I'll do my best. Thank you. I appreciate brevity. I'm married to a girl who has a 4-year-old daughter who lives with her ex. I know that when I married her, but the situation was just her going to visit every now and then, and he supposedly had custody, and she was fine with that. It never came up as an issue before that. When she left town to marry me, her ex had a fit and sued for full custody. She then started going to court dates when called, and even though I made clear to her that I couldn't take on her child, I was always supportive with her visiting, but basically my attitude was to stay out of it. So it sounds like you didn't want anything to do with her kid. Her ex is a criminal, and I got into an altercation with him before and then woke up and said to myself, why should I be getting into BS and maybe get shot when it's not my problem? Now you're thinking, is she good for you? You should be asking yourself this question. Is she a good influence upon you? It's like, because you also got to look at everything that's going on in a woman's life. And if she's got a wacky ex and she's got custody battles and she's constantly in and out of court, do you really want all that fucking bullshit drama in your life? Think about it. I told her to go see your daughter whenever she wanted, but I wasn't going to get involved anymore. Well, that's totally understandable. My finances are bad right now. And like yourself, I took the self-employment route to life and was always willing to go through hard times temporarily in order to do what I love long term. Well, that's why it's important to work a job that pays the bills, not be just a continual broke ass and have no money. I once had my dream business and lost it, and then tried to make my money back. I invested with a friend of mine, and that turned into a whole big complication. So I wound up really downscaling my life and while I recuperate. I met her during the downtime, and she knows everything I've been through. And to me, it's just part of the life I've chosen. It happens, and I have no problem taking the punches, even staying at friends' or relatives' houses sometimes when it's happened, and getting back on my feet. She always acted like she was 100% committed to the marriage and on my side whatever I do. I talked to her about my projects, plans, and ideas, and she always agrees with me. She wrote me a letter that she's my cheerleader with pom-poms held high, rooting for me whatever I do. Well, that's a good sign. I always listen to her when she talks, and I use the method of repeating some of what she says back to her to validate her feelings, just like you teach us to do. Nice that you're paying attention. Then over the last weekend, I signed into my Facebook, which I rarely ever do, and was greeted with a post of hers asking her friends if she should stay with me because it's been a year of no progress and my projects always fizzle and I'm unwilling to take on her child. They all wrote back that she should leave me, and what kind of man doesn't accept his wife's child? Well, I definitely agree with that, because if you love her, you'll love her daughter. It's like, how can you not love kids? It's like, fucking, what's wrong with people? It's like, kids are our greatest teachers, dude. It's like, all the women I've dated that had kids, it's like, what a fucking blessing. Have little kids sit in your lap going, Corey, now what about this? And what about that? Or they come, they jump in your arms, and they want to be held, they want to hold hands. Or like you're walking to a restaurant, and they want to kind of be in the middle, they grab your hand, they grab your girlfriend's kid, and they want to be swung. It's like, how can you not fucking love that? It's like, that's so awesome. But if you're not really into the woman, you're not really going to be that into her kid. And maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe you didn't really think about things before you got married to this woman. And how I'm not doing my job as a provider. So one of the things that you should be doing, it's great. I think it's awesome that you're an entrepreneur and you're building your business on the side. But you should have some kind of job. You're married. You have a family. It's you and your wife, but you're not even holding up that, and you're probably sponging off her, letting her pay most of the bills. Maybe that's why you married her. I don't really know. But as a man, to have some self-respect, you should at least work some kind of part-time job where you can earn a decent income and contribute to your family. Or maybe you work a regular full-time job during the day that will help you pay the bills and be a decent provider while you build your business in your garage. And maybe it takes you 5-10 years to build your business in the garage. But at the end of the day, building a successful business is all about adding value. It's building, providing a product that people will pay for, providing some kind of useful service that people want to pay for. If you've got plenty of customers, then you'll be fine. It takes time to build that and to do a good job of taking care of those customers. But it's like, that is the most important thing as an entrepreneur needs to do, is focus on adding value to people's lives, value that people will pay for, not value that you think people should pay for. Because if it ain't growing, if you're not marketing yourself effectively, you're not providing useful service to people, your business is going to be stagnant. And being an entrepreneur, most of your ideas don't work. It's just a process of trial and error. It's a changing and adapting your approach. You're going to try one thing, you try a marketing plan, that doesn't work. You got to keep changing and adapting your approach until ultimately you figure it out. You look and you find other people that maybe already have successful businesses doing that you want to do. Maybe you go work for one of them and you model their success. You learn the ins and outs of what makes that business successful, and then you can apply that to your own business on the side, or maybe you save up enough money, then you leave that business, and then you can, just what you were doing for them from one day to the next, you can be doing for yourself. That's what my real estate business I have with my former business partners, that's what we did. We were working for another company that I specifically went to go work for so I could learn the ins and outs of the business, because I knew how to build. I knew how to fix up and sell houses to make them look awesome so people would buy them, but I didn't know the ins and outs of the real estate sales business. I didn't know the ins and outs of the mortgage business, and I didn't know how to find really good deals. So I actually went to work for a company that had all that stuff under one roof. And I was able to fill in my knowledge gap. I worked for them for a year and a half. I met the two guys there who ultimately became my business partners. And after a year and a half of that, when I was building my business on the side, we left. And we went from making 33% commission to 100% commission. Our first month of business, we made almost $60,000 profit. It's a pretty good deal, because they had already figured out all the difficult stuff. They'd done all the hard work. They'd spent 7 years figuring that shit out. And then we left from literally 1 week to the next. We got almost a 70% pay increase. That was pretty fucking nice. That's how you do it. It's like, because otherwise you're just beating your head against the wall, trying to reinvent the wheel, doing these things completely on your own. But in the meantime, because like I had my business on the side while I was working. I was a real estate agent, but I had my business on the side. I was still buying and fixing and selling properties. And I was able to cherry pick deals. I was making contacts in the industry. I was meeting people who had private money to lend on the type of properties that I was buying, fixing, and selling, because you couldn't get regular bank financing when there's a 3-foot fucking hole in the roof, and it's not you can't get an FHA type of approved loan on stuff like that. So it's like I filled in all of my knowledge gap, and I made all the connections that I was lacking, and then I built business relationships with those people and those service providers while I was working for this one particular company. And then we left because we already had all those relationships, and they were happy to do business with us because they knew us and they liked how we did things because we were honorable and we did things the right way. That's the way to go about it, working for somebody else. But it sounds like you're just sleeping on your couch and being broke all the time and probably sponging off your wife and getting her to pay your bills and stuff like that instead of working a job that can earn a decent income while you build your business on the side. So he says, I asked her about it, and she was just real matter of fact. Kept her back to me and kept watching a movie or something on her Nook while answering me with short answers. It sounds like she's already gone. I said she should have talked to me if she wasn't really cool with what I was doing and not them. And I said, I thought you believed in me and what I was doing. And this was a punch in the stomach. The next day, she calmly asked for a divorce. And I asked if that's what she really wants. And she doesn't want to at least talk to somebody about it and get counseling. And she said there's nothing to fix. I just needed to get away, so I went to stay at a friend's house. And she kept texting me about how she already considers herself divorced and how I could have tried harder about making money and how bad the house is. It's a co-op with amenities. It's just cluttered with samples and luggage and boxes. Temporary situation. Obviously, it's not very temporary. It's been going on for a long time. This is the problem. You're obviously not communicating very effectively with your wife, and you think everything's fine. In other words, you saw what you wanted to see, and you ignored the fact that she's unhappy. And how I made her live in a dirty dump, and how a child isn't a pet you can just forget about, etc. I said if she's unhappy and can't handle it or doesn't want to, then it's her choice, and that if she wants to leave, then I accept it. And she kept going on about how I'm kicking her out and she has nowhere to go, and how I hate her and don't care. And I kept saying, I'll never hate you, I don't blame you, and you said that you want to leave, that it's over, and if you don't care. So I really couldn't understand what she was then trying to argue about. What she really wants you to do is step up and be a fucking man and handle this shit and get a real fucking job and make some money and make the house nice and take care of things. But instead, you're just trying to argue with her and ignore her concerns as not being valid. You're not communicating with your wife very effectively. Then she says, if I leave her, she will kill herself and will be on my conscience for life. Oh, that's nice. That sounds really healthy. I really couldn't make any sense of this. She asked for a divorce and then said she doesn't care and it's over and all that, but then blames me as if I'm kicking her out and threatens to kill herself. She never seemed emotionally unstable. She was pretty cool, and why is she suddenly flipping out? Well, maybe she needs professional help. That's not something that I could get involved with, dude. That's not my area of expertise. I'm not a doctor. I'm simply a success coach. He says, a friend of mine had a long talk with her, and she said she never meant any of it and was just overwhelmed by it all. She's trying to get you to step up and be a man, because that's what women do. They tend to take little things and they blow them up into these great big problems, hoping that you'll know what to do to fix it. So as a man, get a real fucking job and take care of shit. Learn to communicate with her by reading my book, courting her properly, get back to dating her and having fun like you used to, and clean your fucking house up, dude. I mean, come on. Come on, man. Shit. It's like part of being a man. It's attention to detail. He told her to communicate better with me and not say things that she doesn't mean. If the situation doesn't work for her, say so instead of pretending it is and letting me think she's with it and then getting mad if she wants to be with me. Don't say she wants a divorce. Because she's trying, part of the reason why she says those things is she's trying to see if you really care about her. Because when a woman just says, hey, I want a divorce, you're like, okay, whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, it takes two to make a relationship work. And if she's talking about another guy and she's going to go and date this other guy, that's something else completely. But if she's just saying that in hopes that you're going to take care of the shit you need to take care of, because deep down she knows that if you don't handle this stuff, that she should leave you. Because you're not good for her. You're not a good influence on her. It doesn't sound like she's a good judge of character anyways. If the father of her child as a fucking criminal. I wound up coming home, and she kept acknowledging and apologizing, and we made up. And I know none of this would have happened if I knew what I was doing, and I messed up in a lot of ways for this to have happened. What do I do now, and how do I avoid problems in this context in the future? Get your ass a fucking real job that will pay the bills, that will make her feel safe and comfortable. Start dating and courting her properly like I talk about in my book. And learn to communicate with her like I talk about in my book. By watching the video I did, if you Google Corey Wayne how to communicate with women effectively, you got to watch that and you got to apply those things and not argue with her. And if you're still unclear what to do, book a paid phone coaching session by going to my website and clicking the products tab at the top of your screen and follow the instructions. So let's get into the third and final email. This guy says, "Hey coach, I did have a question written out about asking for advice, but by the end of writing the question, I kind of answered it myself. So instead, I just wanted to write a quick email saying thanks. I stumbled across your YouTube channel a few weeks ago, and after watching," he says, "okay, I watched a lot of your videos. I bought your book, and I'm nearly finished reading it for the first time." Good. When you get done with it, rinse, recycle, repeat. 10 to 15 times, dude. You got to get to know it so well, you don't have to think about it anymore. I've been quite amazed at how much of what you said I already knew, it just never clicked in my head. Well, it's like I teach uncommon common sense. I mean, every guy knows some of this stuff. But that's what I've done. I've put it all into a nice, neat package that basically will teach you how to be a man and maintain attraction in your relationships, girls you're trying to pick up, and women that you're dating. It teaches what a guy really needs to focus on as a man, not only to be successful in his intimate relationships, but his friendships and life in general. I notice a lot of similarities in the stories you speak about in my own life, such as parents not showing any affection for each other growing up. He was absent most of the time, and she was controlling, which left me with a lot of insecurities, which I've only really started to shed in the past few years as I've slowly been turning my life in the direction I wanted. Yeah, it's like a big part of being an adult and growing up is basically undoing all the fucked up programming that you took on from your parents, because we all take on the fears and limiting beliefs and insecurities and doubts of our friends, family, and our peer group. Obviously, this has had a knock-on effect on the dating and social scene also. Your book made me realize a lot of my behavior was approval-seeking, not to mention that moment of realization as to why the women I'm not interested in or past exes keep chasing me. Remember, is this person good for me? Are they a good influence? Do they contribute to my happiness? Do they go out of their way to make me feel loved? And it's like when you come from a screwed up background like I did, it's like you see these normal behaviors and it makes you feel kind of the same way that your parents made you feel. But if you knew this stuff, you'd be able to look and go, you know what, look at that red flag. Look at that one over there. That's not a good sign there. I don't like this, how this person's treating me. And you just move on, as opposed to spending a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, bad marriage, whatever it happens to be, with someone that's just, you made a bad choice to begin with. It's like, don't date somebody who's more screwed up than you are. You want to date up. You want to improve your circumstances. You want to date a girl that's a good influence on you. Because a good woman will be a good influence. She'll help you become the best that you can be. You'll want to be a better man. Not only for yourself, but because she fucking deserves it. Because she's awesome. You want an awesome chick, you got to become an awesome man. I've already started to apply some of what you speak of in the book, and I'll be honest, I have to fight myself to not do what I normally would do. But I've already noticed a lot of the fear and uncertainty wash away from me. That's the beauty of applying what I teach. Because if you lean on the strategies and the techniques and the wisdom and the knowledge, you start to see the behavior showing up that I talk about. You go, oh, and that builds your confidence because you know what to do. You pretty much are able to kind of predict how a woman is going to act and how she's going to show up. And that gives you confidence. It gives you peace of mind. The longer you have these positive experiences, these new positive experiences that you're having, take the place of all that negative programming, all that shit that happened in childhood, or all those bad relationships in the past, or all the girls that reject you, because you'll be able to zero in on what's most important with the women that you date. I feel more calm and centered than I have a lot of the time, and so much of that confused me before is now making sense to me, and I've started to get positive results. I do still have a lot to work on. Just try to get a little bit better each day. Find a way to grind it out. Changing behavior ingrained from childhood isn't easy, but I'm taking things one step at a time, and I know my past self will be happy knowing I am where I am today. Anyways, like I said, thank you for the videos in the book. They've really been an eye-opener for me. Awesome, man. Well, thanks for applying these things, because not only are you changing yourself, but you're changing the world around you, because you're influencing people in a positive way in your life. And the more people that I can help, and the more people that apply the things that I've helped, the more people they in turn can help in their own lives. And this has a domino effect in society, and that's really powerful and exciting to me. So if you'd like to get a personal phone coaching session with me, quickest way, go to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.